Yo, what is up, guys? It is your boy Skull and Bones 2 and 2 here, and in today's Gears of War E-Day video, we've got quite a long video. I'm going to be talking about my experiences with the beta now that it's over. I can't really talk too much about the campaign early access, but basically the fundamentals of the game's lifespan and extra content post-campaign. So everything we're going to be playing after the fact, and some changes I want to see, some things that I want to praise the coalition for, talk about a lot of the discourse in the community, which will be towards the end of the video. But without that in the way, I just want to hit the ground running. And the first thing I want to start off with, as a creator, as somebody who will speak out when it is, I think important to, will be the coalition giving access to just about anybody. This game has to be the most leaked Gears of War game in the history of Gears of War games. And I know Gears of War 3 got leaked pretty bad. I don't know how bad the leaks were for Gears of War 3, but Gears of War 3's campaign, I believe, got leaked, but not everything. Like, aspects of the game got leaked, but it wasn't as bad. And that was a pretty badly leaked Gears of War game. Gears of War E-Day, I think, takes the fucking cake. I'm not gonna lie. Like, the amount of people that got the game and then showed stuff and broke NDAs and contracts that weren't supposed to were insane. And it wasn't just like a one-time thing. Like, there were people also that got access to this game that should not have had access to the game. And you're probably wondering, oh, Bones, like, what do you mean people got access to the game? People that don't even play Gears like that. I'm like looking on the feed on X, seeing people that have 22 subscribers and I've never heard a day in their life play Gears or stream Gears or do anything like that, right? Like, I don't know how the chain of command works at Coalition, but I'm making this to start off by stating, please be careful who you give early access to with this game. Like, geez, la fucking wheeze, man. This game was spoiled in so many aspects for a lot of people because early access was given to people that did not respect the terms and conditions that come with that. And, there were creators that should have gotten access that didn't get access. And, it's really bad, man. It's really bad. Gears of War E-Day has to be like one of the top 10 leaked Gears of War games of like all time. And it just suffered a little bit because of that. But I don't think it suffered to the point where the game is not performing well. I think that's far from the truth. I think the game is doing very well. But some of the things that I do want to talk about towards the end of the video is like some of the discourse in the community. But first thing that I want to talk about regarding Gears of War E-Day is Horde Siege. I have to give credit where credit's due. I'm not a Horde player, but God, man, Horde Siege is fun. Like, I know I'm going to be grinding that game mode. And a lot of people coming new to Gears of War will be grinding that game mode. That is like the saving grace for this game. And I got to say it because, PvP in the arena side of Gears of War is not only very non-casual friendly, but it's also gotten stale to a point. We're in an environment in the gaming space where being able to roam and have free ability to go wherever you want on the map and take combat there and have these random experiences is such a norm in today's society with games. Like, there are arena games like Valorant and Marvel Rivals and stuff, but they have their, moments where you're not so tied to the strict arena sandbox. And I'm trying to think of games, like Halo. Halo's perfect. It's an arena shooter, and it's a game that does garner a lot of attention. But I mean, like, in the gaming space, I think I can confidently say as a whole that arena shooters are quickly fading out. Like, they're not as popular as they once were, and that's just because of the sheer, options you have. So one of the things that I do want to talk about would have to be Gears' return to form. It's violent, it's gritty, it's dark. I mean, this is what we want to see and what we've been asking for the past couple years from the coalition. And honestly, I think they did a good job on delivering. I'm very happy, like I said, with Horde Siege and basically how the coalition delivered this game and set the tone. And they did their thing. One thing that, still sticks with me that Matt Cersei said was, feels like Gears, but it plays like new. And it is a testament to that. This game literally stands on business with that. It quite literally is that. It feels like a Gears game, but it is so new that it doesn't at the same time. And that's so good because we've needed change. This game has been, the same for the last 10 to 20 years, however long it's been. And as somebody who has been with this franchise since the beginning, like, there's only so much you can do and, expect the game to garner a bigger and better audience. And, it's only going to get you so far, So the good things that I want to talk about the game also is, like, I love the movement. The movement is so good in this game, man. It's so different and it's so good. Obviously there are some things that I would like for the Coalition to do. Like, I need them to not make the delay of the character so, like, bad. Like, I don't know how to describe it, but, like, when you play this game, I get it that your character is heavy and you're supposed to be, feeling the weight of your character in a game like this. But in some aspects, it feels like when you move your stick or move back, you're like, strafing is non-existent in this game. You can't strafe. When you try to strafe, it doesn't happen and it doesn't work. It just doesn't happen in this game. This game, it's very, like, clunky and delayed. And I get what they were going for, but for this game to have some sort of skill ceiling and skill gap and competitive integrity later on down the line, we definitely need to loosen up the characters a bit. I need to be able to strafe, because you can't really strafe all that well in this game. And sometimes when you do inputs or do actions, like, it's somewhat delayed and it's a bit confusing. Another thing that I want to talk about is button remapping for the controllers. I want to be able to in-depth button remap a little bit more than what I am now. Some of the controls sometimes and some of the options for controls for where buttons are placed are a bit odd, like Y to jump. I don't know. Like, it's some of it is weird. I'm not saying that it doesn't work and it's not a good thing that we have these buttons and changes implemented, but I don't know, man. Like, I think I would have liked much better to see not the Y button on the controller for jumping. Like, maybe make, the left stick the slide button if you're gonna slide. I know that, the default button that you play the game on has you running with your left stick. So maybe attributing the slide to the left stick. I don't know, but I would like in the future a little bit more emphasis on the control schemes and diving deep into that. I want to be able to customize my play style a little bit more in depth than what I'm allowed to here. Like, you can button map like I've said previously, but it's not as extensive as I would like for it to be. Gears of War has done amazing with the weapons. The weapons feel fucking amazing, dude. I'm not gonna lie, man. I'm very good with snipers in every game I play. I've always been like that. I'm always a sniper type of guy. I was having a tough time with the sniper in this game. And I'm not sure if that's because of the new running animations when enemies are running towards you and their heads actually move, which makes it harder for you. Or just due to me also not playing with aim assist. My dumbass had aim assist off when I played. So what you're seeing now is dead ass me playing with no aim assist. I played, I turned it off. So there was that. I played the game without aim assist. I was quite literally on console playing on a handicap, playing at the most difficult version of the game. But the aim assist is something that I do want to talk about later on, that I do think they need to rework in the future. It's too strong, man. We got to dial that aim assist down a bit. Like, it's a bit restrictive, or not restrictive, but it's a bit OD in the sense of, like, it is very, 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 very strong. And there are some strong aim assists in games, but bro, the aim assist in this game is ridiculous. They got to tone that down. The next thing that I do want to talk about that, I got to praise the TC for is, making this game something that we've been wanting in the terms of, like, playability, like, giving us a 4-player co-op campaign, giving us multiplayer, expanding on the multiplayer, giving us Horde, expanding on the Horde. The gritty feeling of the game, it's dark, it feels a little bit evil. I'm not going to lie, I like that. It just feels like a traditional Gears game that we've been asking for from this company for a long time, but also letting them take their spin on what they wanted Gears to be. And this is their chance to do that. Gears of War E-Day will have its own chance to let the Coalition express themselves and make a Gears game that I think they tried to do with Gears 4 and 5. But with Rod Ferguson low-key fucking up the franchise, he didn't really know what to do story-wise. And we, in a way, paid the price for that with him not knowing what to do. And Gears 4 and 5, I don't have to really harp about it too long. Like, it is what it is. The game just wasn't up to standard for what we expected. I will say, though, Gears of War 4's multiplayer, pretty good. Pretty good. A lot of people don't know this, but, Gears of War 4 was built off of Gears of War 3. So Gears of War 4 was basically just a, like, it was a highly improved Gears of War 3 build with better graphics, a little bit more better animations, but the game remained the same. If you remember playing the Gears of War 4 beta, the Gears of War 4 beta was pretty much like Gears of War 3 with like Swarm and COG. Like the way you roadie ran, look at early gameplay, the way you roadie ran was the same as Gears of War 3's. I mean, the game was literally just copy and paste with some different things, mixed in there. But now I do want to talk about the things that I want to see changed, the bad. So we had 2 maps for the beta, and the maps included a lot of verticality and movement changes. Movement changes to basically like complement the movement. The maps and the movement complemented one another. The maps that we had, only 2 outposts, really wasn't my favorite map, and the weapons on the maps weren't really the best either. I don't know, dude. Like there was a Vulcan on Outpost. I really don't think the Vulcan needed to be there. I think the Vulcan was just put there just to be put there. Because I'm pretty sure there are a lot of more weapons later on down the line in forms of DLC content drops and seasonal rewards and stuff like that that'll come out later on. Because I'll be honest, I'm not buying that these are all the weapons we have in the game. The reason I say that is because with Horde Siege and what I think they're planning to do with multiplayer down the line and add a big team battle, I do not think that this weapon pool is going to stay the same that it is. There's just a lot of reasoning in the background, even in game, stating that, like, for once, we have a faction in the game called the Scorched Legion. They have no fire weapons. Explain that to me. Besides the incendiary grenade, there's no Scorcher, no flame bullet spit and gun, nothing. Yeah, so I think over time we're going to be getting weapons and DLC weapons. I would like the weapon pool to be expanded a bit. What we have right now I'm not really too content with, but the weapons are good. They feel great. The gut puncher is amazing to use. Does need a nerf. Probably ammo reduction size, but it's a power weapon that I can see replacing the boom shot. And I do think that also, like, the Retro Lancer, that shit needs to be a little bit nerfed a bit. I love the Retro Lancer for what it is, but considering it's not a loadout weapon anymore like the Hammer Burst, like the Hammer Burst was fucking unusable. You couldn't use that gun for shit in the beta. It was horrible. It was horrible. The Hammer Burst was horrible. It was not worth using. Retro Lancer, I would rather pick that up the Loki over a gut puncher. I'm not gonna lie, that shit was OD. I was beaming people from across the map while they were trying to properly aim the trajectory of a gut puncher grenade towards me. I could down them with the Retro Lancer from across the map. So, there's a lot of weapon rebalancing that I know needs to change, especially with the maps, the weapon placement. Market was amazing. Market had great weapon placement. The map overall and the flow of the map is amazing. Another thing that I want to touch on is the respawn timers. The respawn timers are atrocious, bro. Like, it is so bad. I need the coalition to go back, rework, and decrease the respawn timer. The respawn timer should not be that long. 12 seconds is insane, bro. It disrupts the flow of the game. Too long. It's not good. It's not good. We need to reduce that, at least to 5 or 6 to keep it going with these life game modes. Now, for something like, I don't know, Control or some other ring game mode, sure, let that timer increase over time as more deaths accumulate on your team, which makes you kind of escalation kind of. The more you die, the higher that timer will go, and it's going to force your team to have to stay alive, to play your lives. The maps basically kind of teach you, whether you want to play for things or not play for things, or play back and position yourselves well. Like, these maps enforce the fact that, hey, I need to stay back and cross this if my teammate's going to pick up scope. I can't just go in there and pick it up with them. I need to smoke this out, and I need to get this angle, or I will not be able to get this power weapon to control the map right now. So the maps do a good job of being able to, enforce this kind of gameplay style that they want the players to go by. It's traditional Gears. You're watching your lanes, you're playing for power weapons on pickup, you're watching timer counts. The weapon respawns do need to be a little bit more frequent. I think it should be after pickup, not after use, because in old Gears games, it was after pickup, not after use. After use, bro, that shit is just never going to spawn back. Somebody could hold the sniper and never give it up, and it just won't spawn again. So they need to fix that for the more casual game modes. For competitive, sure, do it on after use. That way it's balanced and you have a somewhat decent respawn timer for the weapons. But that's like some of the things that I want to talk about that I want them to fix. The desync and the laggy matches, they got to fix that. Horrible desync. The game felt very. I understand it's supposed to be clunky, but it felt overly clunky. The game was. It was not smooth as smooth as I think they intended or I wanted it to be. So they need to work on that. There's a lot of server inconsistencies regarding with the Nasher. They need to fix that. Fix the inconsistencies with the netcode. The game can decide something instead of you winning the outcome by logic. So like, let's say you chunk somebody, but on their screen they took cover and shot a piece of your arm, but for whatever reason the game will register them chunking your arm and killing you and taking the kill from you when you should have gotten it. But because something else happened on their screen, the netcode will decide something else. They need to fix that. The next thing that I want to talk about is center screen. Get rid of that shit. Throw it in the trash can. We don't need center screen in this game. We spent years with center screen in Gears 1 and 2. It was stupid. It was unrealistic. It doesn't make sense. It's unnatural. It defeats the point of making this a cover-based shooter, as center screen shooting literally makes you not need cover. You can shoot people through cover and kill them through cover. People that I saw, I was happening to me, I was doing this to people, they were shooting me through cover. I don't understand how that's still a thing. Make barrel shooting. I spoke to some people at the TC. We're going to be getting some clarification in the next week, I believe, after Gamescom, after they do their little, campaign footage and showcasing all of our gameplay from the campaign, then they can address that. I've spoken to some people, so we should be hearing something regarding if they're going to change it to barrel shooting and what changes are they going to make to fix the shotgun damage and registration, because the Nasher needs damage, bro. The Nasher, I think it was in a good spot, but it can be better, and I think the gib ranges reflect that. Like, the gib ranges are inconsistent as shit. We need better gib ranges. The Lancer, don't even get me started on the Lancer. Let's finish with the Nasher. We need 8 shells instead of 6. 6 is too little. You're burning through ammo too quickly, and not everybody's going to hit every shot. You're going to miss. Now, if you're the best player in the world and you're hitting every shot, good on you, and I know other people are going to say, oh, well, you need to adapt and this, that, and the third. Look, at the end of the day, if they give us 8 shells, it makes everybody happy. The game it's much more, I think the flow of combat remains consistent with 8 shells, because even if, you're missing a good portion of your mag, if you're able to play your cover correctly, you can save maybe 2 bullets before you retreat or back up from this fight or backstep in a fight, because all shotgun engagements are close range. You can make them work towards you, and you can try and get those last 2 chunks of damage in before they, have to go for a reload, or they walk up to you because they've chunked you and they know that you're not reloading yet. So they need to make changes to the ammo counter. One thing that I do want to talk about is, like I said, we talked about weapons. Just place weapons better on these maps for launch as well. Like, make the weapon placements matter and make them make sense. Make it so that they are weapons people are prioritizing and playing for. Make it so that we have power weapons that make sense being on the map in the first place. I think that that's something that is an overarching issue as of right now that I think they can iron out and fix. I do want to congratulate the Coalition for making such an amazing game. And I'm not gonna, not glaze them when they're not doing a good job, but God, they're doing a good job. So far, everything I've seen, I like. And another thing that I want to talk about, though, is back on some of the controversial things. So I've been seeing a lot of discourse in the community talking about how woke this game is and how bad it's going to be, and people aren't going to play the game because of Mags Carter. Honestly, y'all need to get a fucking grip, dude. Y'all need to get a grip. I'm going to keep it a buck with you. Y'all get no bitches with the takes I've seen, bro. Y'all don't talk to actual women, bro. Like, how does somebody having short hair define their sexuality and the way that they're going to act? Now, I understand people have a bad taste in their mouth from Gears 4 and 5. It was very girl bossy. I don't really like using that word, but I understand the frustrations people had with Kate. It should not have been a game about Kate. I'll be honest. 4 and 5 should not have been about Kate. Should have been about JD. It should have been about the passing of the torch of Marcus to his son and the next generation. It should not have been about Kate. And I understand why people didn't like that. But for people criticizing Max Carter, bro, you're fucking weird, bro. We've had Gears female protagonists in this game since the beginning. We've had them in books and comics, like Alex Brand, Sam, Anya, Helena Stroud, what's the one chick? Valera. So many female characters. Mind you, these women that I've mentioned, Helena Stroud has saved Marcus's life multiple times. Alex Brand saved Baird's life in the books because Baird almost got killed, and Alex Brand saved him. There are a lot of disrespectful dudes just making, such leftist bullshit comments about like the leftist MAGA a fucking agenda they be pushing on this game is crazy, bro. Like, it's insane. Like, the takes I see people say, I'm not playing this game because this lesbian character with short hairs in the game. Dude, shut the fuck up, dude. Honestly, shut up. Don't play the game. Just do me a favor and don't play the game. Dog, she has short hair for a reason. I don't know if you guys know this. I'm going to break it down. Gears of War 1 through 3, yes, we had very attractive but very badass women. The game was geared towards straight males. I'm going to keep it a buck for you. If you know the history, Gears of War 3 did not become a female and male centric game until Gears of War 3. Gears of War 1 and 2, and up until that point, was all about guys, the male appeal. That was it. So, of course, for the times, the games are going to be catered to a certain audience. But around Gears of War 3, a lot of more women were being involved with the community in the game. And so they wanted to show love to that and added more female characters, added more lore, about the women in the Gears universe. And they were just as badass as the men. But when the Coalition came over, they took over and they expanded on that. They wanted to give it a more realistic approach. Women in the military are not going to look pretty and shit, bro. That's just the truth. Women in the military are going to look rough. They're going to look like they've been through some shit. Max Carter is a veteran, and I'm not trying to shove this rhetoric down people's throats. You can believe what you want to believe, but I know you get no bitches, bro. That's just the fact of it, bro. Like, you're weird. You're weird. I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. Max Carter is a veteran. She outranks Marcus and the rest of everybody on Bravo Squad due to being in the Pendulum Wars for a long time. She has damage to her face because she caught a blast of a diffused bomb that went wrong to her face because she couldn't do it correctly, and it costed her the lives of her team, and we will learn about that. But she has short hair also because of the fact that in combat, women that have long hair, or if you have long hair in general, can get you killed in combat. Having long hair in wartime will get you killed. It's an easy way for somebody to grab you and stab you or shoot you. So that's why you do not have long hair in combat. You need to understand that there's real life and in-lore reasons for that. And I'm pretty sure that the Coalition of Order Governments makes you get rid of your hair anyways. And there are women that do have long hair. They have them in buns. So if they don't make you get rid of your hair, you have to put it in a bun anyways, because if you do not have your hair in a certain way, you literally can get killed in combat. You literally can die in combat. And that is a thing that not a lot of people seem to understand. Like, I don't want these women to be beautiful. I don't want them to be sexy, bro. Just make characters that are cool and that they matter to the story and they fit the timepiece, make it make sense. That's really my sense on that. It's just a lot of weirdos, man, making crazy claims about, women are in Gears and now it's becoming woke. And also, like, the other thing where, like, people are like, Max Carter, she is going to be the focal point of this game. I played the game early. I can tell you guys right now, Max Carter is not, all right? She is not the focal point of this game. She never was, and that's not the intended point of her being on Bravo Squad. The thing is, Max Carter is in this game as a fill-in for Baird and Cole. Baird and Cole don't, join the military until later on in the campaign of this, while this is taking place. I'm pretty sure they don't, happen to join the COG until after Emergence Day. So why would we have Baird and Cole with us now? That's just not the case. This game is a soft reboot, and they are changing some lore and changing some things and moving things that happen later in the lore to fit this timepiece. But people do need to understand that this is a soft reboot. I do think maybe they might take some creative liberties and change some lore, and that altogether would make it a reboot. But anytime anybody mentions Gears 5 to the Coalition or Gears 4, they don't like talking about it. They don't want to mention it. They don't want to talk about it at all. They want nothing to do with it because of how bad of a taste it left in people's mouths. And I agree. What they should do is finish those games in comics or books. Wrap it up. Or if you don't want to touch it at all, you don't have to touch it at all. We start from Gears E-Day and work our way up. Beautiful. Tell your own story, all right? I am so fine with that. Like, let the Coalition tell a story the way they want to tell it, but do it in a way that respects the franchise and its roots. I get that. Do that. But there are just so many weirdos, bro, on this game harping on it, saying that they're not going to play the game because the game is woke. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you? Now, the next thing I want to talk about is Cliff Bleszinski. I've been seeing Cliff Bleszinski, the original creator of Gears of War, make some really horrible fucking takes on Twitter, dude. Horrible takes on Twitter. I've been seeing this guy who hasn't even had anything to do with Gears in the longest time. He's probably like the LARP king right now. I'm not going to lie. Dude just gets on Twitter and just fucking makes posts for attention. I don't know if you guys know this, but Cliff Bleszinski did not sell Gears of War. He left before Gears of War was sold. And went on to do other ventures and make other games, and they all fucking failed. They did not do good. He has an insane ego, and he's always shitting on the Coalition. I don't get why. The Coalition is not perfect. We know this. They know this. But they're trying to do better, and I can respect them for that. They're trying to, do right, and communicate with us. And they're doing things that they weren't doing before that, I think is an amazing touch. But Cliff Bleszinski has to give these people leeway and let them do their job, bruh. He needs to let them do their job. Like Cliff, he was like, I think one of the recent posts he left was, if I was still making Gears, I wouldn't leave wall bouncing in it because that was never an intended, gameplay mechanic for my game. It was more so a happy accident. Well, Cliff, if it was a happy accident, then you would have meant for Gears to never have a high skill ceiling to begin with, because Gears, the way that it plays is so, you need to invest time to be good at Gears. And it's a game that pays off when you do that. And it's a high skill ceiling game. It's not easy to get into. I understand that. And that's why the movement in this game has radically changed. Hot take, the movement is very good in this game. I love it. It's different. We've been needing movement like this. Are there things that I would love to see return? Like pulling people over cover, chainsaw battles, vault kicks, vaulting over cover. I would love to see that come back. But we have to give the Coalition time to let them cook and let them see what they're going to implement over the game's life cycle and lifespan, what they plan to do for different games. We will get there. But as of right now, Cliff, back off. Stop fucking making these horrible takes. Because, bro, for me, there are pro players. If you go on X or Twitter right now, go on and you will see pro players like actually cooking Cliff Bleszinski shit. Actually, Cliff Bleszinski made a post not too long ago talking about how he was like important for like the Gears of War lore and stuff like that in a podcast, and how not a lot of other people had as big of an influence on it as he did. And one of his co-workers who actually was there with him making the games, wrote the lore, was like, really, Cliff? Brothers to the end, huh? That's what we're doing? You were in charge of all the lore and stuff when this dude is literally writing, he had a hand in writing the books, the comics, stuff like that. He was important to the story. So it just goes to show you this guy's just an attention whore. Cliff, please, like, I respect you. I love you. You did an amazing thing for the games 1 through 3. I can't discount that. You made my childhood. You made history, bro, with Gears of War. But the game is not yours anymore. Stop commenting on something that does not concern you. Of course, the OGs and people that are stuck in 2006 are never gonna not look for their Lord and Savior's fucking opinion. But bro, he is so out of touch with Gears. Y'all need to stop like putting what he says on a pedestal. Like, please don't. The other thing is, Gears of War E-Day is very garnered towards casual players. And that's something that I want to disagree with the Coalition on. But not at the same time, because I want this game to grow and I want it to do good. I know that the Coalition is making this game casual and more casual friendly due to the point that, the game is not easy to get into. And if it's easier for people to play, then more people will be more inclined to give it a try, and I'm down with that. And that's why Horde Siege is so good right now, bro. Like, it's so casual. It takes a lot of influences from other casual games that are doing pretty good, like Arc Raiders, and, implementing the extraction portion of that game into this, while letting you interact with different squads on the map in PvPvE. Like, it's so good. It's so good. I love that for them, and I got to give them credit for that. But one of the other things that I want to talk about, if the leaks are true, because, over the time frame of this game, we're going to get a lot of new content, new game modes like Wingman, Demolition, Guardian. We're going to be getting, attrition type game modes, different things that we've never gotten to do in a Gears game that have been wanted for a long time. And I'm excited for that. But one of the leaks was Big Team Battle and or Battle Royale. Could Battle Royale happen? I know people don't like Battle Royale. It's stupid. People hate it. I'll be convinced. I'll say this. I think the people that don't like Battle Royale suck. Like, I think you just suck. I'll be honest. Now, is the Battle Royale space oversaturated? Yes. But are there exceptions to games that made the Battle Royale genre good? Of course. Yes, there is. Would Gears fit that? I don't know, but I would love to see it. I'm not opposed to it. As somebody who creates content for this game, I would love for it to go on and survive as long as possible and be as successful as possible. And if that's an easier barrier to entry for other people, then of course, yes, do that. Make a BR. That shit would be fire. It would be fire. Now, I know the Coalition kind of shot themselves in the foot with the last-minute decision for Sony not being included, which hurts the player count for this game. But that doesn't mean that if the game isn't good, people are going to be inclined to want to buy an Xbox and play the game. That's just how it works. If a game is good, people are going to want it. It's been like that since the beginning of history. So now that we've limited ourselves to console wars, the success of this game kind of really hinges on how well it can perform with the already existing player base and how Gears of War can reach the masses for players on Xbox who've never played a Gears of War game before. And the Gears of War game is so casual and good right now for people to get in there. Like, there are people that have never played the game before, but have been playing against pro players and shitting on teams of pro players because the game is fun and easy to pick up. So the Coalition is doing a good job in that aspect. Again, I know that, and like, they're making the game more friendly, but I do think that if a big team battle and a Battle Royale is something that we've received in the future, I'm getting it for open arms. It's more ways to play the game. Gears of War has always had in the lore these crazy big battles that we've only heard of in stories and, you know, through the books and stuff. And I think it's about time that the Coalition expands on that and gives that to us in the multiplayer space. We need that. We need more replayability. Playing on an arena will only make this game die quicker. I'm going to be honest with you. These game modes, these arena game modes, the arena playstyle, it gets bored quick. Like, there's only so much you can do. Imagine multiplayer, but on the scale of Horde Siege with, like, you know, Overrun or Overrun 2.0 or some big team battle where it's Locust versus COG. You have vehicles involved. Take points like Conquest and Battlefield, you know. I think the groundwork is there for what they're cooking up. And if what these leaks are shaping up to be, then I think we're going to be in a very good spot, man. Like, I'm gonna keep it a buck with you. I think we're going to be doing amazing things by the time launch comes out. And I'm excited for that, man. Like, I love that. I want Gears to expand on a big team battle or a battle royale. Like, bro, and people say, like, battle royale, sure, it's oversaturated. It's every game that has had a battle royale that adds it as a side game mode, it never does well. Okay, well, those games were shit. They didn't work, bro. Games that did it well, Apex Legends, Hero Shooter, Battle Royale, still going on. Fortnite, Apex, and Warzone are all Battle Royales that are still going on that have triple or 10 times more viewership than Gears of War has had in its entire lifespan. Oh my god, I know that's such a hard concept to conceive and accept, but it's the truth. This is what people want. I would want something like this, you know? Give it to us. I know that they're cooking on something, so I'm going to give them time and let them do it. But whatever it is, whether it's BR or if it's a big team battle, I want it. I want more open gameplay. I want to be able to not just be confined to the small map all the time. And the other thing is, people also need to get through their head that we are not getting an esports circuit. Gears esports is not going to be a thing. 4 and 5, Gears esports killed the game, bro. It was good for viewership at a time, but the game made the barrier of entry so much more harder for casuals trying to get into this game because they were off-put and scared. I know people that were scared, you know, to play the game because of how competitive and how hard the game was to get into at that time. Gears esports contributed to, you know, people seeing the game through Twitch for the first time and saying, this shit is kind of fucking hard, bro. I don't know if I want to get into this, bro. I'm not going to lie. So, you know, esports is not coming back. I've seen a lot of posts of, like, pro players making teams with orgs. Like, there's going to be an esports circuit and there's not going to be a fucking esports circuit. What are you doing, dude? Start streaming, get back to streaming, and clock into your 9 to 5 like the rest of us, bro. Because either you make it through content in this game, but you're not going to be getting paid through that. Like, there's not going to be an esports circuit for pro players. So, you know, we cannot make a game also. And the reason I'm saying that is we cannot make a game and cater only to pro players. And we can't also make a game catering to just casuals. That's the other thing that I want to talk about. We can't make a game that is strictly only pleasing new players and a game that is disregarding the old player base. What we need in this game is a blend of movement and combat that work, that complements the old Gears of War. I'm not saying it has to be an old Gears of War game. I'm not asking them to make Gears of War 1, 2, or 3, because at that point we're making the same game that we've been playing for the past 10 to 20 years. That's not what I want. We've got this new movement system. Obviously, fix the shotgun, because that shit needs to get fixed. I'm not trying to play center screen. It's so inconsistent and stupid. I don't want it in the game. Nobody else wants it in the game. Center screen is horrible. It doesn't make sense. I'm not going to go on a tangent with center screen, but, you know, make a game that is easy for casuals to come into and pick up, and make it a game that has a competitive integrity that existing players can feel at home playing, but also, in a way, learn the game because it's new and get comfortable with it and grow and learn from it. You know, make new techniques and make new movement techs to fill that skill gap that Gears has always had. And wall bouncing isn't a big thing, you know, like I know Bleszinski was going on. This was like a huge thing. Bleszinski was talking about the wall bouncing, how if wall bouncing wasn't in his game, it was a happy accident, and that wall bouncing, makes it harder for people to play Gears. But the thing is not everybody's wall bouncing. Good players aren't really wall bouncing to that effect to get kills. In this game, you get punished by wall bouncing, actually. The more you wall bounce, the more you're setting yourself up for failure. There are moments where you can outplay, backstep, backpedal, chunk people. You can do a lot of good things with the movement in this game, but if you're going to strictly try and wall bounce without using any of the other sliding mechanics and all those other things, you're going to die. You're going to get yourself killed. So using that as an excuse to not, make a good blend between the two is something I don't want to hear from the Coalition. I really don't. I need them to lock in and make a game that, because I see a lot of content creators, like pro players bitching and complaining, saying that the game isn't a certain way, like that it's not like Gears 1, 2, or 3, and I want it to be like this, and if it's not like this, I'm not going to play the game. Like, of course, they want the game to be good, but at the same time, I keep hearing a lot of people say that they want the game to play like older Gears games. And if the games play like older Gears games, we're not making any progress. We're setting ourselves back to zero. Some YouTubers and, players that I want to talk about. Let's start with Extra Father. I love his content. Great videos. He makes a lot of good points. He's made a lot of good feedback to the Coalition. And he's made a lot of good videos, just talking about the changes, the things, stuff like that. But things that I don't really agree with him are, like him kind of saying that, this was earlier on in his videos. Like, as of recently, he hasn't really stated this, and it's a common trope that I've seen. A lot of, content creators want the game to play like or feel like original Gears games. And we can't, I'm sorry, but I disagree with that, bro. Like, Extra Father, I remember him saying, I need it to be like Gears 3, or I want it to feel like Gears 3. Doing this like Gears 3 would be good. I'm not saying that that's what he says now. Obviously, these are, from takes that have accumulated over time since the beginning, before he played the beta, and now. Everybody's had their feedback and stuff, and there are some players that are going to say it. Another person that, I don't like this dude, but, I'm going to say it. I don't like Domes. He's a weirdo. I'm going to leave it at that. Not going to dive into it, but his takes were, pro players want the game to feel like older Gears games. And I don't want that. I don't think anybody wants that. We want something new. So let the Coalition build on the building blocks from past games, in the sense of like making a shooter that feels like it's a Gears game. But if we're going to make a new Gears game altogether, climbing, jumping, sliding, we need to keep that in there and not make, wall bouncing that focal point of the gameplay. There's other movement techs. Let's use that and make them culminate all together to make something new, brand new, fresh. Make these people grind the game to figure out what the skill ceiling and skill cap is, so that they can make something of themselves, make a new meta of the movement itself. But I see, tearing the game down and constructive criticism with Kenny Bounce too. Like, they made really good, like lists of things that they wanted to see changed, a lot of the things that I mentioned, just from playing the game. Another thing that I want to talk about, if I didn't already mention it, was like the Lancer. We've got to nerf the Lancer. The Lancer's too strong, bro. The Lancer is too fucking strong. Please nerf the Lancer, dude. Like, make the gun usable, but don't make it overpowered. I still want the Lancer to be usable if I'm holding lanes and crossing with people, because at that point, that's when the Lancer is at its strongest. But I don't need the Lancer to be the damn Retro Lancer. I don't need that. Like, I don't need a Gears 4 Lancer. The Gears 4 Lancer, if you know, but that shit was a nuclear bomb with a extended magazine. Horrible. And then in Gears 5, the Lancer was fucking useless. You just can't really use the Lancer in Gears 5. It just doesn't feel as natural, I guess you can say. So in Gears EDA, make the Lancer a blend of usable but not too overpowered, but make it a weapon that is worth replacing with a power weapon. And if not, make it a weapon that I'm still good holding on to, because I know it's going to do something for me in the long term. So find a good balance with the Lancer. That's something that I do want to talk about. And like I talked about, Nasher changes, power weapon balances, the incinerator shotgun, that shit is insane. And again, this is probably more so attributed to the fact that the game is center screen, where you can get shot through cover, which is not a normal thing. It's not a healthy thing. It's not a natural thing. They need to convert the game's shooting style from center screen to barrel shooting. Barrel shooting is more consistent. It offers more, skill value. There's a lot more variables involved with barrel shooting that make it much more consistent and healthier for the game long term, not the center screen bullshit. I don't know why we're going back to that. Another thing I want to talk about is 4v4. Why are we back to 4v4? We just played 4v4 and Reloaded, and 4v4 from Gears of War One, and it's just like, dude, why are we not on 5v5? Like, I understand that from an esports perspective. Like, Gears of War having 5v5 is a little bit more chaotic for the esports scene, but we know that esports is not a thing anymore. So why are we back to 4v4? 4v4 limits this. You know, if we want to go big, we need to go big, and if we're not going to go big, we need to get our ass and go home. Like, it's just something that I think needs to be addressed. We cannot have a 4v4 game mode. Change this to 5v5. These maps are big enough for 5v5. They need to complement 5v5 gameplay. And if they're planning to do something bigger later on down the line, which I will make videos on, don't worry, 25v25 and 50v50, something like an overrun siege mode or big team battle siege mode where it's PvPvE or PvPv, PvP, my bad, guys, and enhancing on that. Because I'm going to be honest, we do not need 4v4. It's just, I don't know, it's very constricting. It's not as fun. The games end quicker. Not a lot of outplay ability. Like, I don't know. It's just not as fun even to watch spectating if there's just 4 people on the map. Your team dies very quickly. And then, I don't know, the balance of the game just kind of gets thrown off a bit. Now, there were a couple individuals that were talked about in the community. One of them being Gold Glove. Gold Glove was mentioned by some guy on Twitter by GG. Something GGZI or I might be butchering his name, but GG did mention like there's a lot of people coming to Gears of War, right? And like kind of being tourists in the sense, and what I mean by that is, people coming to the game and only playing for like maybe 1 or 2 months after launch and then leaving and never coming back again. And that's the truth. People that are big like that only play Gears of War as it benefits them for a little bit, but don't stay long term. And I mention this because we need to have the coalition realize that we need to have a game that's going to be catered towards people that are staying in their game and rewarding them for playing their game long term, not rewarding people for coming, checking the game out, playing it for a little bit, and then leaving. Like Gold Glove was, saying how people only view him as a casual and all that stuff. Well, I mean, it's kind of true. Like, you only played Gears 1 through 3, and yes, you did do probably wagers and played tournaments and did all that stuff, but brother, you were gone for 10, 20 plus years after that, and you never came back until now. So why? And maybe you played Gears 4 and 5, but bro, you didn't stay long. You were not making or revolving your channel around that content. So don't come and say that your opinions matter as much as people like, I don't know, someone like me, Extra Father, other pro players or content creators that want to see meaningful changes, because we are going to be grinding this game. And I get that sentiment that GG had, mentioning that there are a lot of gal LARPers or people that have never played Gears of War at all getting early access, which was an issue. And that dealt with the leaks, this game being leaked because of people who have never played Gears of War getting access to the game. And that bit the TC in the ass. That bit the coalition in the ass. So I hope they see this video and they see that, be careful who you give early access to. And, make sure that you're listening to the feedback from people that play the game and care about your game. That's important. But also make the game feel welcoming. Make it feel also very readily available for casual players. I don't think that the end-all be-all is we're going to make a game tailored to pro players, because that shit happened in Gears 4, and look at how that turned out. It happened in Gears 5, look how it turned out. And I really got into, I don't need to speak on that. The proof is in the pudding. But the game right now, in the terms, another thing, the store. The way that this store is going to look, and the reason I'm probably suggesting or subscribing to the idea that like later on down the line, if we do get a battle royale or a big team battle mode, that store is going to be so clutch, because in big, expansive, open world-ish games like that, that's where they see the most monetary value of a live term store. People are more inclined to buy cosmetics to show off in the world, because you're able to go do more, show off more, stuff like that. So if there's going to be a long service or a long-term point for this game, and it's going to be abiding by the rule of playing near a big team battle, or, of course, the casual, the already standing arena game modes are going to stay there, but people aren't going to be buying skins like that. I feel like the barrier to entry for that, people are going to want to spend more probably if there's a mode to accompany that, in my opinion, for live service. But the other thing is, people will buy stuff if it's worth buying. Don't make shitty content, the coalition. Don't make shitty skins. Don't be cheap. And if you're going to do collabs, make collabs that make sense, falling in line with Gears. Not everything has to stick with Gears. I get it. Collabs help promote the game's growth. I'm with that. So if you're going to do collabs that like make sense. Being in Gears of War, like, I don't have a problem with that. It just helps the game, and I am so with that. There are a lot of things that I probably want to go in depth about talking like with, the controversy with Gears and people saying bad stuff. But at the end of the day, these are probably the only things I would like to see changed. I would really like to see, also like my the controls being able to be worked on, more in depth, button remapping for controls. That was like a big thing for me, and changing the center screen to barrel shooting, please, for the love of God. Please, for the love of God. And somehow getting attachments into versus, even if it's in the arena or the big team battle or battle royale, whatever they have planned down the line. Please find a way to get the attachments in there, because that's a waste of a system by not having that in the game. I don't give a fuck about balancing or the game not feeling fair with attachments. I don't give a shit. I am tired of playing the same arena bullshit, playing for power weapons for 10 plus years. Like, it's cool and shit, but then it gets to a point where it's not cool anymore and it's boring. We need to change it up. Yeah, I want to build a long-range Lancer with the fucking suppressor and a red dot and beam somebody across the map because I didn't want to go pick up the Retro Lancer. Damn right I want to do that. I don't give a shit. Let me put an iron sight on my long shot and go quickscope with that bitch. Like, what are you talking about? That shit would be fire, bruh. That shit would be fire. And also, people saying that I don't have a place to say any of this fitting into versus, the attachments coming into versus. I'm going to tell you something right now. I have played against the best of the best. Go to my channel. I have done wagers. I've gone to LAN tournaments. I haven't competed. I don't have earnings to my name like that. I'm not going to tote and lie, but I've been playing the game for a while. And I've shat on pro players. I've been to LAN. Played against domes. Shat on domes in LAN. And if you don't think I'm telling the truth, there was a Gears of War 5 LAN I remember that I went to. There was a skin that you could only get by going to that LAN event. And if I were to at the Coalition right now on X and ask them, hey, how do you get this skin? They will tell you and me an answer. You had to go to this LAN event to get it, which means you had to perform and compete against other players. Domes was there. I've played against them. Domes has the same skin on Gears 5. I know. I shot on him. I had him on swords. I know how to play the game. I played against the best of the best. I played with a pickup, mind you. A pickup full of really bad players that day. And I still did it for the love of the game. I still went and played Gears 5's LAN for the love of the game, just because I loved competing. I play this game at the highest level. I can hang. So when I say changes like this are needed, add attachments to multiplayer, fucking add attachments to multiplayer, bro. Something needs to change. We got to have a weapon sandbox that is worth grinding. Not only the skin's going to be good and the content, cosmetics are going to be good to grind, but having attachments that you can grind for to build a class or a pre-made gun before you load out with, I don't think is a bad idea. And maybe they're saving that for the big team battle mode. So I'll give them grace for later on down the line, whatever they decide to do, adding beast mode or big team battle or overrun siege or something like that. I'm cool with that. In some form, I hope I get to have attachments on my gun in a PvP setting as opposed to it just being PvE where it's horde or campaign. I want that feature to not be wasted and not be brought over to the multiplayer side of things. But yeah, everything else, there were a couple controversial things that I wanted to talk about, like, some of the people that did get early access. I'm not really going to dive too deep into that, but I think I've covered just about everything I want to talk about. I had to repost this video just because I wasn't satisfied with the way that I did it. The last time, the game wasn't, not the game, the upload wasn't as good. I think the upload wasn't as up to par to my standards. I did a little bit more complaining and negativity, as more so as giving feedback to the game, to the developers, and then talking about the stuff and discourse in the game that I didn't like. So I'm glad I was able to fix that, do that. Other than that, if there's anything I missed, comment down below. We've got a couple good videos on the way. August 25th is my campaign reveal for playing the campaign for the first time. I can't wait to share that with you guys. Other than that, this is your boy Bones. I will see you guys then. I'll probably be trying to do a live stream at some point next week. But we'll figure it out. I will be doing a giveaway in October for Gears of War E-Day. So if you guys are interested in that, I already told you guys the spiel on like the membership system. If that's something you guys do, you'll have a higher chance at winning in the giveaway. And if not, when October comes, I'm gonna start taking names for people. I got to figure out how I'll do it. So I'll probably format that and figure it out for the live stream so I can have my list and figure out how I want to call off. But one other thing that I want to do is comment down below your before this video ends, comment down below your favorite gear. Who is your favorite COD gear and what branch of Gears do you like? It could be from anything. The Brash Brigade from Gears 5. the regular COG army, the Onyx Guards, the Commandos, the NCOG Marines. Who do you like? Tell me. Comment down below. Other than that, I hope the coalition sees this feedback. You guys improve on this, work on this, man. Please make the characters feel a little bit more smoother. You know, make the characters not feel too laggy or clunky or, you know, like, I don't want you to get rid of the weight altogether, but I need to be able to at least strafe in this game and, like, you know, feel like I'm having some sort of, you know, outplay ability with movement and stuff like that. I'm not saying that that's not in the game, but it could be greatly improved upon. There are a lot of things that obviously need work before launch, and I feel like we are at probably 70% at launch. We're not at 100%. There's time and effort that needs to go into this game before it launches in October, so hopefully the coalition does that. But other than that, this is your boy Bones. I will catch you guys in the next one, and until then, peace. Also, guys, before I go, one last thing that I do want to say is I've played all of the Gears of War betas, and all of the betas have never looked the same as the game does when it comes out at launch. Every Gears of War beta, and I truly do believe Gears of War does a good job of making games very different from the time that they're being worked on to the time that they finish, be two separate, completely different games. And every beta I've partaken in, I vaguely, I'm not going to say vaguely, I vividly remember partaking in the Gears of War 3 beta, and that game was so different when the actual game launched. So come Gears of War E-Day, what we're playing now, it may look different, may feel different, and when the game comes out at launch, it's going to play like a different game. The game is going to be very good, very good, and I can't wait. And also regarding weapons coming to Versus, like I said, I do believe that if attachments do come to Versus, of course, let there be balancing so that the weapon attachments fit, so it's not broken. Maybe ban certain attachments so that it's not a fest of horrible guns. But think about it. That'd be pretty cool. Like, as a content creator, I get to bring you guys a weekly, I'm still going to do it for Horde Siege and campaign, but, like, you know, a weekly meta of what's a build that I want to try with my gun in pubs or ranked that you should try. And if I think it's fun, or if I think it's worth building or unlocking certain attachments to make a gun around that. Like, think about it. In Versus, we have our guns. You have preset attachments for loadouts for everything you select on the menu. When you go to pick up your gun, it applies your skin and your automatic attachments onto it, if we're doing an arena game mode with the attachments blended in. But if it's like Horde Siege, or it's like big team battle, maybe you have to go to a fob or some sort of replicator on the map, then you open it up, get your equipment, get your loadouts, and then you grab it and go. You have to work up and get points to earn it up until that point so you can cash out with your loadout. Like in Warzone, where a care package comes down, you open it, that's when you get your loadout. You got to pool in resources to get the loadout, and then you can pay off, get that loadout, and just go out and go crazy and get as many kills as you want. But that's pretty much it. That's all the feedback I have. I know that the coalition isn't afraid to do anything like that, but I will leave you guys with that. So, yeah.